Good afternoon, everybody. It's a dog with you here on a Monday, a nice, beautiful Monday, and good old month of June, the 25th, 2018. It's H. Weber with you with another edition of Weber This Week. Well, we hope to have him in the studio live, but he has little foot issues, so he's up in Maine, where it's going to be a lot cooler. I'll get to that weather situation later on in the week, or later on in the show, as they're expecting 96 degrees in 5 straight days here. So welcome to the show, and Joe Siccardi, my friend. Haven't seen Joe in quite a while. I had him on my show not recently, but some time ago. And he's done a book. And the book, of course, I'm going to hold it up, is called Heaven Shining Through. We're going to talk to Joe. And without further ado, Joe, via the telephone line.
For having me. I'm sorry I'm not there in person.
Oh, that's okay. Joe, thank you very much for coming in via the phone, I should say. Appreciate you spending some time with us. I had a chance to review the book, and let me put it this way. I got through 3/4 of it, and I'm going to finish it tonight. I was intrigued by it, and I was reading about how you got into writing the book. You launched your social media, and you went on to your blog, which is wisdomfromfather.com. You didn't get a whole lot of play, 100 likes, I guess you were telling the viewers or the people that were reading the press release. So what at that point did you consider dropping the idea, or did you just forge ahead? Obviously, you forged ahead because you developed the book.
Well, I did. It was early on in my blogging experience, and look, I didn't have a lot of followers, but I did get, about 20% of my followers saying, "Yeah, it's an intriguing idea. Let's pursue it." So I went through and I gave them the lead paragraph and said, "Let's have some fun with it." And the first week, I got a few more viewers, and one person decided that the hero or the heroine should be named Samantha, which of course created all kinds of issues for a male trying to write as a female. But I forged on and went through about 6 weeks, and the numbers were just steadily increasing. So I said, as long as you guys have interest, I'll just keep adding to it. And about week 8 or 9, I came to the realization that this was going to be on my own. So,
yeah, well, it turned out.
We got here.
Yeah, it turned out to be an excellent book. And again, give us a little background of coming up with the name of the book, Joe.
Well, one of my, everybody looks at rainbows and says that's the vision of heaven. Well, for me, it's when I'm driving down the road and you see on a cloudy day, and all of a sudden you see the sun trying to peek through, and the only thing you see are the rays, the halos. And I was driving down Route 96 one day, and I happened to see it, and I said, "That's it. That's the title." So that's how it came to be.
That's very interesting. Well, listen, I find that the character Samantha and Chad, and I'm not going to give any more thunder. I'll let you do the thunder. Giving it the listeners today is Joe Siccardi, is my special guest, having just written a book called Heaven Shining Through. I was intrigued by the playback between the beginning of the story, Samantha and Chad, and their relationship, et cetera, et cetera. I won't go into specifics, but if you don't mind, I know you sent out a press release. Do you want to read off that very first, the first open-ended paragraph? Is that something like a little tease that our viewers or our listeners could check on?
Sure. Let me get a copy of the book in front of me here. The way I started it for the readers was simply. I drove alone on the black asphalt, which looked darker because of ominous clouds on the horizon, ranging from dark gray to puffs of white. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of white as the sun tried to peek out from behind the clouds. It didn't succeed at first, but a ray rained into the picture, followed by a halo of rays. My name is. And that's how I started it. And as I said, the first response I received was, "Well, my name is Samantha." So
that's pretty neat.
That's how we got there. And the second part of that was the rays disappeared as quickly as they had appeared, as the clouds stitched themselves closer together, and I was once again left with just the asphalt and the clouds. The darkness sucked away the happy memories. I was driving toward the darkest patch of clouds, and I was in no hurry to return to my girlhood home. That's how we got it going.
Well, I tell you, I'm not much of a book reader. I don't know why I have plenty of time to read books. I just never got really into sitting down and reading. I sort of get impatient. I like to go to the back part of the book first, and that's not smart. But I think the theory is some people can sit and read book after book after book. It's never been my theory or my turn on, but I must admit, I got to tell our listeners today, Joe's book is something you can handle very easily. It's only 64 pages long, thereby making it a short book. Correct, Joe, in the idea of books? That's short.
Yes, it's more of a novella than it is a book or a novel. Mm-hmm. And as I had stated then, after I started the process, I said, there you go, readers. My name is, and what's his or her story? Why was he or she on the road? How was he or she going? Where was he or she going? Mm-hmm. What did the rays mean? How did they relate to the story?
Yeah. Well, I found it pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to wrapping it up tonight. I want to remind our listeners today as well that Joe Siccardi is my special guest via the phone from Maine. How's the weather in Maine? Sunny and warm?
Well, the sun is starting to peak out. It was a little rainy yesterday and this morning, but it's starting to peak out. It's in the mid-60s. Nice. We'll be sitting probably in the 70s the rest of the week.
Well, like I said, we're expecting our amazing heat wave starting on Thursday here. It's supposed to be 96, 96, 96, 97.
Well, I don't miss that.
And that's really the forecast. Jimmy Santacrobi's got a smile on his face because that's going to be heat, man. That's going to be heat. That's the only time of the year that I wish I had an ice cream stand that I owned because you could sell a lot of ice cream. Well, Joe, let's talk a bit about, for the folks that may not know you, obviously you were in the Finger Lakes a long time. You lived out around the area. You ran, of course, the fine paper called the Reveille Between The Lakes. You obviously have fond thoughts of this area, and I know you finally sold your business, but it has to hark back to Seneca Falls and all the years you spent putting out that publication.
Oh, definitely. I spent more time in Seneca County than I did any place else in my working career. Mm-hmm. And it means it's a very special place for me. In fact, after we launched the book, I did come back, and I felt that I had to give something back to the community, so I did make a presentation to each of the 5 libraries in Seneca County, so they all have a copy of the book. It's a couple degrees cooler up here, but the town that I'm in is very much like a Waterloo or a Seneca Falls. It's a little bit smaller than both of them. It's about 4,000 people, but it has a nice downtown, and I'm sitting here right now in my apartment overlooking the river. So life is good,
and it's a good setting for you to write a novel or a book or whatever you want to do. It's peaceful.
Yeah, well, this was actually written, as I said, back in about 2012, 2013, and it just sat there on my blog for a while, and it wasn't until I actually got up here and had the time and to sit down and go through it and edit it and go forward and take things out, put things in, that type of thing. So here, even though it was written in New York, it was actually finished here in Maine.
I found it interesting too in your prelude, your press release. You made a comment that struck me, anyways. You didn't want the book to be too preachy. Explain to our listeners what that meant. I know when they read the book, what was your attitude toward that terminology of not being preachy?
Well, I'm a Christian, and the one thing that really bothers me sometimes about Christians is that they have a tendency to say this is dogmatic and this is how life is and this is how you should live. So I didn't necessarily want it to come off that way. I wanted to present characters who were real, characters who had flaws, characters who made mistakes, and develop the message through the characters rather than by telling people, knocking them over the head and saying, do it this way. So that's what I meant by being preaching. And I have been on, I have been on that side of the pulpit, so I do know what, a little bit about some of the Christianese that goes through some Christian novels.
Sure. Without giving too much of the book away, because we certainly want our listeners to go out and get a copy, and at the end of the show, we'll have you give the release about where they can obviously get a copy. As far as, if you look at the book or the release you just put out, Heaven Shining Through, if you had to put a few words together describing the context of what you have outlined here regarding Samantha and her mother and her friends and, of course, Chad, and et cetera, without giving away the entire book, and that's not my theory here to get you on the show and tell you about that before our people get a chance to get a copy of it, how would you construct a few sentences what you really wanted to get out of that book?
Well, I raised 5 children, and my wife and I raised 5 children, and they're not to the extent that shows in the book, but there is a tension between mothers and daughters. I saw it with my wife and her mother, and her sister and her and her mother, and there's a certain tension because women have a tendency to be. I don't want to say this in a negative way, but they have a tendency to think that their way is right. Mm-hmm. And while the kids are young, they often come into these battles with their mothers. I think that probably boys have the same problem with their fathers, typically. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to show that tension that Samantha was a good student, but her mother would focus on the B rather than the A, mm-hmm. or would notice that the seam on her stockings was not straight, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Because it is a flashback. It is a flashback to the 60s. So, and it was a different time then as it is now. So I wanted to show that tension, but I also wanted to show that Mom cared in her own way, and Samantha couldn't necessarily see it as she was growing up. And through the flashback and through the look back at her life, when she came, I don't want to give away too much, but when she came out of that nostalgic stupor that she was in, she was able to see her mother in a different light. She was able to see her mother as another woman who went through struggles and who went through her own set of problems, and she was able to grasp the reality that yes, they were different, but they're very much the same. And it's like the old saying, your parents don't know anything when you're 18, but they sure do know a lot more when you're 65. So.
Yeah, I realize that parents don't know much at all growing up. As a kid, you don't think they know much of anything, but when you get a little older, you realize they had a lot of good thoughts and a lot of good reasons why they had certain house rules.
Right. You can look back with a new set of eyes, and that's what the purpose of the book was for Samantha to come to that realization and to the self-realization to begin with, and then the reconciliation with her mother.
As you, the press release that you sent me had you opening up a public launch on April 29th, which ironically was my birthday, along with my daughter, who happens to be named Samantha. Thought that was ironic. What is the feeling of the neighbors up there and the folks that you know personally and the ones that you've met throughout your trails going through this operation? What is their opinions been? Positive?
Yes, definitely. The launch went better than what I had anticipated. You never know when you're launching something new, especially when you're launching something new in a new area.
Sure.
So I was expecting, if I had 20 people, I would have been happy. Mm-hmm. Well, I ended up with about 35 that showed up, and it was a cross section. It was across. Some of them were from church. Some of them enjoying Kiwanis here, and some of the Kiwana members came. So it was a broad section that came out to support it, and it, like I said, we had about 35 people, so I thought that went well. And I did broadcast that live, and had over 300 people that actually watched it. And I know that it was not just here. I know a number of people in the Finger Lakes area who saw me when I came back up in May and mentioned that they had seen it, and we had a nice visit with them. And I've had people from Arizona.
Oh, that's great.
Responded to it, so it's been an exciting experience for me. It's self-publishing is not always easy, but it's been a challenge, and I've been fortunate. I've been fortunate to have the opportunity. The reviews on it have been good. Most of the comments, I won't say negative, the constructive criticism is that it was too short. And it's the first time in my life that there's a newspaper person tell me that I didn't write enough. Usually it's the other way. You wrote too much.
Well, listen, I wish we could talk for hours, but unfortunately it's only a 30-minute show, and we're closing in on 3:20. So before I say goodbye, I want you to give our listeners an overview of where they can pick up a copy, how they can order a copy of this.
Sure, it's available online through the publishing house, which is Xulon, Xuyylon, or through Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com, both online. Or they can order it directly from me, and I'll send them a signed copy. They can reach me at my email, which is REV, as in Victor, BLT, bacon, lettuce, tomato, at rochester.rr.com.
Well, listen, I wish I could spend a lot more time with you. Unfortunately, I have time restraints. You know how that is with the media. I do appreciate you spending time with me via the phone. I wish you were here, but I understand you had a foot issue. How's the foot doing, by the way?
Doing a lot better, it's almost back to normal. I have another follow-up appointment the end of the week, and I think I'll get the go-ahead to be
very good.
Normal, if that's a good thing. I don't know.
That's right.
For me, it's good.
Well, listen, Joe, when you come up in the area, give me some notice, and we'll get together and have lunch. Thanks a lot for joining me, and good luck good job on the book. And for me to read a book, it's amazing. So it's very impressive. I look forward to finishing off tonight.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, Joe. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Joe Siccardi, ladies and gentlemen, of course, the former owner of the Reveille Between the Lakes, here, of course, in Seneca Falls. Good guy. He was supposed to be here live and in person, but he had, obviously, as noted by me, a little bit of a foot issue. It's Weber this week. Joe Siccardi was my special guest via phone. We hope you enjoyed that interview. And get out and check out this book, folks. Heaven Shining Through. And as my wife will testify, I'm not a book reader, but I'm into this one. I'm going to wrap it up tonight. It's quite interesting plots in this book. I'd recommend strongly that you get one right away. We'll take our commercial break, come back with a few closing comments. Del Lago Resort and Casino has something for everyone. 2,000 slot machines and 99 gaming tables. The Vine, featuring top national music and comedy acts. The dining options. The Great Portico by Fabio Viviani. The Farmers Market Buffet, the Social Cafe and Bar. And the 14,000 square foot European-style spa. Del Lago offers massages, body treatments, and facials, plus a full-service salon. Visit DelLagoResort.com for more information. Cayuga Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Britt Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Gold Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. Learn more at thegouldhotel.com. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located on New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country, fresh, home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at mcgeediner.com. The Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes is a child-friendly location where allegations of physical or sexual abuse are responded to by a multidisciplinary team of professionals. The team works together to conduct a thorough investigation and to provide necessary support services to children and their non-offending caregivers with a goal of minimizing further trauma to a child. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at newarkpilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com. Cicino's, live, laugh, eat well. It's the Italian way. It's also the Cicino's way. Visit one of their 3 locations, Waterloo, Geneva, and now at Del Lago Resort and Casino. Order online for pickup or delivery at Cicinos.com. Welcome back, everybody. It's the Dog Back, and we again thank you for Joe Siccardi for calling in. Again, obviously the intention was to have him here. He was coming back to the area, but he had a foot issue, so the doctors recommend that he did not drive in the trek from Maine to Seneca Falls. So if you can't get it one way, you'll try to get it the other way. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as I was reminded. So thanks for Joe talking about it. Really, it is an interesting book. Seriously, folks. Heaven Shining Through. Check it out, and I hope you get a copy. As you know, we're in the heat of summer. I talked about the heat wave coming up here in the Finger Lakes. We will attempt to continue to bring in guests. I may not be here. You never know, off and on during the summertime to do the show. Jim Senecropi will be filling in for me, as he does always a great job. My schedule's been changing over at the casino where I work. We're getting crazy out there with promotions, and that's obviously the department I work for. So we'll keep you abreast. Jimmy will probably have some impressive guests walking in the door, as he always does. Other than that, we got a lot to talk about too, Jimmy, regarding are you a big soccer fan? Do you follow the World Cup?
I really enjoyed following the World Cup for the men and the women the past several years, but without America in it, I don't really have any rooting interest. I don't mind sitting down and watching a World Cup soccer game, no matter who's playing, though. It's always pretty interesting. It doesn't come around, only every other year. And
it is disappointing. I've never been a huge soccer fan, and I realize I am the minority because it's billions of people around the world watch it. I mean, it's all over. It's amazing at the popularity, and especially in the United States, it's really come, way up.
As far as the youth sports,
exactly.
It's become probably one of the most heavily participated. You need 11 kids on each side to field a team, so the numbers have to be there. It's hurt football at youth and high school level. As a matter of fact, Marcus Whitman announced they're going to play 8-man football, which was a couple schools near Rochester, like C.G. Finney. I can't remember the other ones, but they are forming another league to go along with regular high school football for 8-man football. And so Marcus Whitman's going to do that too. And before long, I think you're going to see a lot of schools do that because they don't have the numbers to field a football team. And I don't know what 8-man football looks like, but we're probably going to find out this fall.
That's going to be interesting. It's pretty crazy. And of course, as we get closer in the world of baseball, coming up in about a couple of weeks, the All-Star Game. Of course, that's the midway part of baseball. Of course, the Yankees getting swept by the lowly, godforsaken Rays. What's amazing about Tampa beating the Yankees in 3 straight over the weekend, Jim, was the fact that, if you're the owner of the Tampa Bay team, you got to look at your schedule and say, oh, my God, when are the Yankees coming to town? Their average attendance, now get this, their average attendance that they get for home games in Tampa Bay, all right, 14,700. The Yankees came this weekend, 27,000, 28,000, 31,000.
Which is still not a lot.
Exactly, but it doubled what they usually get. Mind-boggling. So the Yankees, whether you love them or whether you hate them, they draw fans. And all you have to do is when they scan the crowd, all the paraphernalia for the New York Yankees. It's scary.
I went to Tampa in the fall last October, and we drove by Tropicana Field, and what a dump it looks like from the outside. I mean, I understand they're in Florida. You don't necessarily want to be outside and when it's hot and humid, but, the past few months it's probably been okay. But it just looks like such a dump.
I know.
So that's probably one reason why the fans are staying away.
14,700 people. But you know what? They're still going to survive because all that money they get from the networks and all those little slices of pizza called cash, they still exist and they still make money, believe it or not. I don't know how they do it.
I bet you they have the smallest fan base of any team in the Major League Baseball, though, if you just asked average baseball fan to list their favorite team or their top 3 favorite teams, I bet you Tampa would come in last.
They might be neck and neck with Derek Jeter, Miami.
The Marlins, yeah.
They're pretty woeful. Even though my good old Mets, a.k.a. Mutts, they're struggling, the Mets.
They were worse. They got a worse record than Cincinnati now.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati started out the season
By the way, they're only 2 games ahead of the Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
Which is, God forsake, going to be a Little League team this year after Jeter and his co-owners gutted that franchise and got rid of Stanton.
Yeah, the Mets have the pitching, too.
Yeah, they do.
But
no hitting, no timely hitting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you enjoyed the show today. Again, we'll keep you posted on my availability to come in here and anchor this show. And if not, Jimmy Seneca will do his usual great job. So listen, remember, I always had a wish to have an ice cream stand. Boy, this is the week to have it. 96, 96, 96, 96, 97, starting on Thursday. Baby, get the AC working. Get out and jump into your pool if you got one. And if you don't, bring a 6-pack to your neighbor and maybe they'll let you jump in. That's Weber This Week along with Jim Senecrope. Take care, everybody.